overrated, or am I faded? You shine so bright, it's an understatement. Single is overrated. If you get too close, my baby might let you take me back. Take me back, baby. Take me back, baby, baby. Take me back, baby. Hindsight, take me back, baby. It's 2020. You've been so patient. Oh, I kept you waiting. You want me back, baby. And take me back, baby. It's in the night when I think I made it. When all day dedicated.
Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
What up, my people? Welcome to another edition of DBDS Live, the most mature podcast pertaining to relationship topics. I'm your host, Jamal Lawrence. I'm here with my brother, my partner, Carl, the accountability coach. And listen, we're back from a short break, and during our time of absence, I would say, Carl, it's been a lot of controversial stories pertaining to bad advice, bad behaviors pertaining to relationships. But trust me, Carl and I, we don't want you to get distracted, I would say, by the noise out there. But this is why we appreciate you joining us on this wonderful evening. So my brother Carl, man, I know everything's been, the weather's been crazy down there, man. How you been and what's new, my man?
Oh, doing good, man. Like I said, yeah, Houston, we took a little hit down here the other day, and just, prayers for those people who lost a lot of things and, houses and stuff like that. Waiting on power to come back still to some areas, but doing good outside of that, man. Like I said, when people come through and your loved ones are safe, my lady and her family, everybody is safe and doing well. So that's a big thing right there. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, like you said, the negative stuff that's out there, and we're just going to continue to drown the noise out. What we're doing and promoting. Like I tell people, I'm not even in the coaching mode anymore for people who have no desire to not get married. If you're coming to me for coaching for a relationship, that's got to be what you desire. I won't even work with you no more as a client.
Or if they're coming to you just to get some insight on how to juggle multiple women, or I'm not the one on that. So I've never done that. I know people say date them all, or if you're just dating, you're just dating, you're collecting information. To me, I really feel like that's bad information, and it's not conducive to people, because you end up missing out on somebody because you've got too many voices in your head, and then you're trying to do it. So so coming to me asking that information is a bad move. I'm just gonna tell you, no, you need to find somebody else. Knowing you, man, if they pay you up front, you may have to give them a refund, brother.
I've done it. I've done it. When they can't take accountability, I'm like, here's your money back. I have given money back, and people think I'm crazy, and I'm like, well, you're 3 sessions in. I'm like, yeah, if you're not fitting what I'm teaching to help you get to a better place, and I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but I continue to grow, evolve every day. But if you're on the dark side of stuff, I'll send you your money back.
Yeah. Well said, my brother. Listen, glad to hear you state that, man. Sometimes observation is more important than information. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta listen to those people out there, see how they maneuver, see how, if they worth to teach them. Because like you stated, you can lead a horse to water, but what's the old saying? They can't
make them drink it.
Nope. Make them drink it, man. So I just think, man, I'm just glad to hear that you're safe, your significant other, everyone is safe. And I just want to add my 2 cents as far as the negative behavior out there. just a quick observation from my end. I see the landscape shifting in terms of, I think more people are being vocal on how a healthy marriage is a blessing and not a curse. Or I see people stigmatizing the entitlement mindset or calling out bad behavior, such as domestic violence and so forth. And my thing is, man, I just want to get your thoughts. Do you think there is a shift going on, or do you think we have a lot more work to do?
It's not a shift yet. I think it's like, it's kind of like a rock, a big stone, and you start pushing it a little bit, and you can see it rocking back and forth. But we don't have it where we got it pushed, where we've got enough momentum where it just keeps on rolling, and we can just keep on pushing it while it rolls. So,
Gotcha.
I do believe that there are some others out there doing it. I think the problem, as I always talk about, is the people who are monopolizing from a monetary standpoint, that are unwilling to, if you've got a voice out there, they're unwilling to actually do the right thing. And that's why I tell people there's a difference between people who are teaching you how to get into a relationship, and then between them and the people who are teaching you how to achieve your goals of a relationship, whether it's a long-term partner or a marriage. Anybody can get into a relationship, but how do you maintain it? And so, we'll discuss some of that with tonight's topic, some of the things I bring up, but that's, I think, like I said, there's more people speaking. I think the stone is starting to move, I should say the boulder. That's what I should say. The boulder's starting to move.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, it's just not moving where it has not moved out of its place yet, where we got momentum and it keeps on rolling.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for your insight on that, my brother. And that's a very excellent point that you made, Carl, because my thing is, even though that boulder, it's a lot more work to do, I think that we can expect a lot more people expressing their thoughts to challenge the radical feminists out there and the red pill brothers out there, and not to argue with them, because you and we don't argue with these people that have these harmful mindsets towards relationships. Right. But the thing is, we are still teaching in a way that the ones in the background that are following these radical feminists and red pill brothers, trust me, the ones in the background are listening to us, and they're listening to more people such as my sister Carla, such as Ernetta, such as Cameron, such as Tanisha, Natima. The list goes on and on. Shout out to my sisters out there. And listen, just to pivot, for those that are watching right now live on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and especially those who are watching us on YouTube. Just make sure you hit that subscription button and the notification bell, because not only it helps out with our show, but you will also get early access to our previous episodes related to meaningful topics. And besides that, if you want more resources such as credible advice, you want a coaching session, if you want to get some great books to read, such as Carl's latest book right now with the collaborators, and I can't wait till his next collaboration in book, You Say You Love Me, But Do You Respect Me? So much jewels out there, so much jewels. And I just want to state, man, that today's show that we're going to touch on, which is titled Having a Type Will Keep You Single, Carl, I'm excited to talk about, and I just want to get your thoughts. What you think about this topic?
Yeah, it's definitely a great topic, because it changes the scope of how people look at stuff, and I don't think people realize what that's doing to them. I'll save that for the show, what I want to say. But yeah, it's definitely a great topic, a needed topic, because there is a difference between standards and type. And I think that's where people are missing out on.
Yeah, huge difference, man. Well said, my brother. And I just want to be clear to those who are watching. We all know that attraction is not a choice, but we do decide who we choose to entertain. And Carl, I believe that the problem is that certain people are easily influenced from those who are still broken or haven't healed. And when you have that mindset, it's only natural to when you become involved with someone, in the process, you may end up hurting that person. You may not be for the right reasons, right? So,
Yep.
Listen, Carl, we're going to save that heat for the show. So let's not keep the people waiting. Are you ready to bring our guests into the studio?
Let's bring them on in.
Man, class in session, man. So listen, I'm thoroughly excited to get this ball rolling because the first sister that is coming to the DBDS Live studio, I am honored. Tell me, I am honored and thrilled to have her on. We're both honored to have her on, just based off her positive energy and how inspirational she is. In fact, I constantly share her positive affirmations in DBDS Live group as well as DBDS Straight Talk. So this is her first time on. I want to welcome my good sister Carla to the DBDS Live studio.
Good evening. Thank you.
Hey,
So
Carl.
grateful to be here.
You're welcome. I was just missing that drum. Carla. You know. Welcome. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
Awesome. Thank you. Much gratitude. I'm so grateful to be here this evening with you all. My name is Carla Johnson, also known as Lucid Blue Lotus on social media. I am a mother first. I will tell anyone that is my highest calling. And I'm an entrepreneur, holistic health coach, musician, author. I actually currently make meditation music, so you can find me on all streaming platforms under the name Lucid Blue Lotus. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever. The focus there is just creating a sound that uses healing frequencies to help people through whatever they're going through, whatever traumatic experiences they're healing from. And it's global at this point. So I'm excited about that. I actually released an adult coloring book on Amazon called Earth Goddesses. It's dedicated to Indigenous women, celebrating just getting back to our ancestral practices of making our own medicine, healing ourselves, gardening, planting, making our own things, and just getting back to our connection to nature and God through those practices. So that is a little bit about me.
Wow. Damn, sis, that's amazing, man. I mean, two things that I want to just point out that caught my attention, and Carl, feel free if you want to pick you back. The meditation music. You know, I'm the type of person when I listen to a good subtle music, especially in this day and age, hip hop, R&B, whatever the case may be, I just love like towards the end of the track, they just let the music ride out, especially if it's a nice beat and you just got your headphones on, you just like, you know. Sometimes I just listen to instrumentals, to be honest with you, if it's a really nice flowing beat and it relaxes me. And the second thing I want to point out, the natural medicine that you mentioned. And, you know, Carl, man, maybe a good idea to do a show on health, physical health, man. You know, that just brought up that point, because back in the day, man, you know, people, they eat fast food and not taking care of themselves. They're not getting preventive checkups as they should. And they're in the 6 feet deep before they can really live a long, healthful life with their significant other. So,
Absolutely. People are just really getting back to their ancestral ways. You know, our grandmothers made their own medicine. You have to be a great consumer of your own well-being. You have to be your greatest advocate. So that is something that I'm truly passionate about.
Wow. Okay. Man, Carl, man, before we bring our, well, I won't even call her a guest, man. Before we bring our family member into the studio, man, what you think about them? You think we should do a show on health?
Absolutely. I mean, I've talked about it a lot, you know, but I think having a show fully dedicated to it is imperative. You know, because I can tell people, you know, who wants to get with someone only for them to not, you know, to only enjoy them for a year or two because they didn't take care of their health. And I feel like it's health is a major play in making the decision on a type of partner you want to be with. You know, everybody's got little issues and things, especially you get, you know, to your late 40s and 50s, body starts acting up. I get it, but what are you doing to maintain your best healthy lifestyle? That's how I look at it. Are you trying to be your best? As long as you're trying to be your best, that's one thing. But you know, like you said, if you're just out eating whatever, you're not exercising at all. You're you know, drinking everything you can get your hands on. Just, you know, just not trying to be conscious at all. No type of healthy diet. It does make a big difference. So we definitely could do a show. You know how really health is your wealth at the end of the day. Health is your wealth. So, everybody's worried about, whether, somebody's making six figures, is their blood pressure in the right zone? Is their cholesterol in the right area? We're worrying about the wrong things. So you make six figures and die tomorrow, and then you're like, I wasn't even in the will. I wasn't on, and you don't get nothing. But knowing that this person's healthy and has the right zone stuff, their numbers are in the right zone area, it makes a big difference.
Yes, it does, man. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That could be a show within itself. So thank you, Carla, for coming on. We greatly appreciate you being on to the show today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. And next, coming into the DBDS Live studio, she truly needs no introduction as she is a part of the DBDS family. Not only you can listen to her advice on how to survive divorce, for example, on the DearBrothersDearSisters.com website, but you can also download her book called The Not Broken and other ebooks that she has available that she'll share with you. In fact, the link is right in the chat, so make sure you check it out, but I'll put that up as soon as she comes in. I want to welcome back my sister, our partner, Cameron, to the DBDS Live studio.
Hello.
What's going on, Cam?
What's this?
Hey, Carla.
Hi, Cameron.
So excited to have you on. I was sitting in the background. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to tell her. I've started incorporating sea moss into my family's health regimen.
Good for you.
Yeah, for a whole year, I've made my own hair products. So, yeah, who said we can't have inches?
Hey, absolutely.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so now I've been experimenting with other holistic, all natural ingredients. I too am a mother. Actually, my daughter graduates from high school on Tuesday.
Yay!
Hey.
Yeah. One more to go.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I've been incorporating sea moss, just seeing how it works, because my daughter has suffered from eczema, and I will definitely go to an all natural remedy first before I will a medicine, like, big pharma and whatnot. And so, yeah, it's been very good for her, as well as acne.
Yeah, for sure.
So she's happy about that.
Yes. And Kim, please tell them about the ebooks. Please share that with the folks out there that's watching the show.
Yeah. So last time we were on, I released a free ebook to the DBDS family. It's basically Not Broken, How to Rise to Your Best Self Post-Divorce. And basically, it's a play on words. KNOT, the knot was broken, but you're not broken. And me being a woman of, that experienced divorce, there's a lot of head games that you play with yourself as a result of your marriage breaking down. And so basically the ebook, the free download, is what I did basically to get to where I am now in an extremely healthy, loving relationship with a man that is amazing, right? Like, just because I experienced divorce didn't count me out. I could most definitely have the love of my dreams, and I do have that. So, since releasing the free ebook, I've also written 2 others. And basically there is the Not Broken, which is the mini course, which is it's a deeper dive. And then I have a journal, a manifesting journal. Again, I've walked this walk, right? And I'm a living, breathing testimony to what happens when you literally get still and who you are at the end of the day, because everything comes from that, right? So I'm very much a proponent of being still and knowing. And like, when we're prepping for shows, Mel and Carl, they'll put stuff in the chat and I'm like, yo, like, where's this coming from? I'm so tuned out. I might be in the world, but I'm not of the world.
Right.
So, but we tap in because so many of us don't think the way that we do. And our goal is to have healthy people, which lead to healthy relationships, which lead to healthy communities. So, it's got to start somewhere. And that's what I love about DBDS. That's what I love about being a part of this. And I will do everything in my power to support everybody who is on this train with us.
Man.
Awesome.
What I love what you share, Cameron, is the fact that your personal journey, your experience and everything you've been through was the roadmap to lead you where you're at today and made you the woman that you are inside and out that can help other people out there.
Absolutely.
I greatly appreciate you. I really do. And I'm glad that you're a part of DBDS. I'm glad we have you being vocal, expressing yourself, and just uplifting the people out there. Because, sister, you're truly an inspiration to me. Like, I'm inspired by you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's why I call it the U-print, because, I don't want to cuss, but F a blueprint. No.
Oh. No shade of Jay-Z. No shade of Jay-Z.
I know that's right.
No. No, it's all about you. Like, we really got to get back to the basics of what feels good, what feels right to us individually. That's our power.
Right.
That's our power. And we short circuit our power when we try to manipulate others, to bend to our will, when we try to carbon copy somebody else. No, that is not why we were brought here. No, absolutely not. We're all good enough, worthy enough, lovable as is. That's it.
Facts.
Well, listen, we want to thank you all for joining us on this wonderful evening. So we're going to go ahead and get started to our to the show itself, because this is going to be an excellent show, entertaining but educational at the same time. But before we drop some gems, I just want to point out that, and the topic of the show again, just to remind people, having a type will keep you single. And I feel like when you're rigid, when you're fixated on having a certain type, you only limit yourself to only getting together with certain people. And that also means, whether you realize it or not, that may discard others who may have more to offer to you, or who may be a blessing, who may actually be your ideal partner. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and play this short video just for people to get a sense of what we're talking about today.
A good man, but he's not your type.
When it comes to types, okay, because we talked about this the last time, it's a pattern when it comes to your type, patterns and characteristics, okay? These are things that you have seen or that you have explored before. You probably seen mama, auntie, friends, somebody who had a specific type, or somebody in the neighborhood and you was like, oh, that's a bad boy, that's a dope boy, that's something like that. I like that because of the thrill. In certain spaces in your life, you cannot bring that type with you. So if you see that all other characteristics and behaviors are good, why does the type even matter? You can learn to love this person in other spaces outside of what you see as far as physicalities. If you're talking about a type because maybe your type has a certain type of demeanor, or maybe your type looks a certain type of way, what is going to matter when you start facing conflict? The way they look? When you start going through communication barriers, the way they look? All of that's not going to matter. I can guarantee you the majority of people who have probably married or entered into healthy relationships, they weren't worried about a type. When they got to a certain space, they were worried about what it is that you can actually bring into my life. And as far as your looks and stuff, that just doesn't matter. How much money? Yeah, of course. But if we looking at types who say, oh, he a dreadhead, oh, he's 6 foot something, and everything else. Derek Jackson is 6 foot something. That was cheating on his wife the whole time.
Oh, no.
And we hate to name drop here.
Oh, was I not supposed to name drop?
No, you good, you good.
That
Yes.
pause itself, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the sister has some very valid points. And may I ask that once you remove those superficial lens, you will see how more important it is to make sure that your core values align with that person. You'll make sure that you get to know their character first. And that's more important to get to know them, right? That should be the first priority before you get emotionally attached to someone. So the first topic that we're going to touch on today is, man, when you have a certain type, you may miss out on your potential life mate, you know? So here we go right here. We pull up the ticker. This is going to be a good one right here. So my thing is that even though it seems annoying to hear this, and I'm going to say this numerous of times, but when you go by having a specific type or certain criteria, then more than likely you may end up dating the same person in a different body. And listen, my wife, April, she would tell you at firsthand. I'm telling you, Carla, before my wife met me, her type was tall, dark-skinned brother, tattoos, deep voice, dreads, but none of those brothers made her happy, you know? So she met someone in which her core values aligned with her, and we both were on our personal journeys, which were the roadmap that led us together. So, Carla, what are your thoughts on the video and why having a specific type can cause you to miss out on your potential life mate?
I think it's exactly what you said. You know, at times we think we have a specific type. We have this superficial laundry list of things that we want in a partner, right? But the truth is, you're really attracting what you're a vibrational match to. So that's why, like you said, you're repeating these experiences. It's like dating the same person in a different body because you think you're choosing your type, but you're really picking your vibrational match. And so the true test is to identify that so that you're not repeating those same patterns in the same person over and over again. You know, different man, different face, same experience by doing your own healing work so that you can attract a healthy vibrational match to who you are, right? Because you'll say, well, I picked this type. And then when the mask comes off and, you know, the facade comes down, then you get the real person. So are you truly picking your laundry list, your type of person, or are you picking what you know, that unhealed part of yourself that you just keep repeating over and over again?
Okay, my sister, listen. Telling you, we are bringing it out. Listen, that mask will begin to come off as you stated. You know, a lot of people use false advertising, I would say, out there, and it's proof in the pudding. You know, you don't get to know someone, you're skipping those moments that you want to take the time to get to know someone, and this is what is almost being normalized in this instant gratification society because everyone wants things now. But when you have that type, as you stated, you're like living in a plastic bubble where you can be missing out on the other realities of the world, and you may get overlooked by someone that may be the right person, or you may overlook someone because you're just so fixated on a certain type. Cameron, what would you like to add after watching that video? The sister has some excellent points. And do you think people are missing out when they put their preferences over their core values?
Oh, absolutely. All day. You know, Carla said it, like, you know, that mask gets heavy after a while. And then once the mask comes off and, you know, the rubber is hitting the road, like the young lady in the video said, what's a look going to do for me at this point? What are looks going to do? So yeah, the type will definitely have you missing out. I mean, I've met women who say, oh, you know, I only talk to or go for men who are X, Y, and Z. And whenever I would hear that, I would just kind of like cock my head to the side, like, wow, you're really like missing out on some gems out there just because they're not packaged the way you think you prefer them to look. I'll tell you right now, there's nothing more sexy than a man who meets you on all levels of life. And regardless if you're going through a storm and he's right there beside you looking like, what we doing here? What are we gonna do? Not, oh, I'm out, deuces, peace. No, he's like, okay, we got this together. There's nothing more sexy than that. Okay, 6 feet tall. Okay, got waves. Got to wear a wave cap at night. Like, I mean, what are we talking about here at the end of the day? You know, and you know, and I'm not knocking the fact that, you know, yeah, I get it. Eye candy. Trust me, I get it. But don't let the eye candy lead you. Like, don't make that the cart. Okay, your standards, your beliefs, that's the horse. And I promise you, if you let that horse lead, that cart will look like a Bentley. I mean, you're like, yeah, my man, my lady. Like, I'm serious. Like, just try it. Just let them all go. Seriously, like whatever you have, just let them go. Post up, take yourself out on a date. It doesn't matter where you go. But my all-time favorite, when I was giving myself my own like shock therapy post-divorce, I would just post up to a bar at a restaurant and I would eat dinner. I would always have a book or my journal with me. I wouldn't sit there and like scrolling on my phone, because at the end of the day, what does a book do? Oh, hey, it adds to curiosity. What are you reading? Oh, really? I just gave y'all some game right there.
Right.
There you go. I mean, and listen, my people, I hope you guys are taking note of everything like that, because that was some jewels you just dropped, my sister. I appreciate you, Cameron. And listen, before I come to Carl, and I'll just piggyback this to Carla, and then I'll come to Cameron, then I'll come to you, Carl. But do you think this type is also related to people just having this list? We talked about the list before, just writing down 6 feet, check. Dreads, check. You know, do you think those people should just toss that list to the side? Like, do you think that's too much, Carla? What you think?
No, that list is so superficial. And most of us want a connection, right? Like, where's the connection in that list? Where's the spiritual connection, the emotional connection? It's just a physical, it's a list of physical traits, material things that, hopefully, those things don't really matter to you at the end of the day. And if they do, then you're going to keep repeating those same cycles of trying to find that right person and never having a true connection with the person, being unfulfilled and miserable, right? So a lot of people I feel that have those lists, they're just truly unhappy with themselves, because really, what does that matter? What does any of that matter? If you have a spiritual connection or emotional connection to somebody, you can connect to someone who they're not 6 feet tall. And that's the thing with dating sites, right? A lot of us women get on these dating sites and this man got to be over 6 feet tall. He has to have a good job, or entrepreneur, got to have all these things. But then you start dating them and they want those same things as well, because now you're building a material life. Where's the connection in that? And that's something that, as a person who's been divorced, out here dating again, it's so different than when we were younger dating, right? Because everybody has this superficial thing. Like, I'm not young anymore. I'm 41 years old. You can't have this.
Stop lying.
You can't have this long laundry list, so you got to look a certain way. Thank you. You have to look a certain way. You got to have long hair. You got to have this nice body. And I have kids. I'm older. Like, the reality is, we're getting older. The looks aren't going to be there. Is the conversation there? Is the spiritual side there? Am I able to, build with you on a whole different level than just the material side? And that's something that, once you get to our age, like, some of those things that's on a list is just like, what are we doing for? You might as well just be dating around instead of trying to build with somebody or have a relationship, if you're going to have that type of list. Like, don't fool people into thinking that you want something more when you just really want to test the waters and be out here with multiple people. Like, that's not okay either, right? So you have people that say they have a type, but they're truly just bouncing from person to person and really ruining people's lives, because we're out here doing the work. we've been divorced, we've been in broken relationships, we're trying to heal. So, if that's not what you desire, leave those people alone. Go ahead and keep seeking and searching and dating and dabbling. But that's what ends up happening is when you have that list, you end up bouncing from person to person looking for those things, trying to check off a box that you'll never find.
Thank you for sharing, my sister. Thank you.
Yeah.
Your vulnerability as well. Go ahead, Kim.
No, I was just going to add to that, in no way is Carla saying to settle.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about choosing you and what you're worthy of. That's really what it's about. And I promise you, once you switch that dynamic, you will absolutely get the most amazing person ever in life. And you'll be like, what list? Oh my gosh. Like, this is everything I could have ever wanted and needed that I did not know. But you got to do it from a place of knowing that is who you are. Because at the end of the day, we don't get what we want. We get who we are. So when you've done the work like Carla talks about, when you've done the work like Carl's talked about, when you've done the work like Floyd and other people who have experienced divorce, like when you've done the work, and even when you're single and you've never been married, you just sit there and you're like, you know what? Let me look at my patterns. Like, seriously, take a piece of paper and go back to your past relationships. You'll see the pattern. It'll be glaringly clear to you. And then you ask yourself, is this what, first of all, where has this gotten me to this point? And do I want to continue this? If the answer is no, I mean, it's kind of like a flow chart. Check yes, check no. If it's no, then that's when you start to build on from you. How do I want to feel in a relationship? What are my values and my beliefs? Start focusing in on that. And you'll be surprised who comes your way.
Okay. Yeah. And that's where the flexibility could be an asset, having an open mind, especially when it comes to dating, because the substance of a person will tell you who they are. But Carl, man, the sisters are dropping gems. I mean, from a man's perspective, why having a specific type may cause someone to miss out on their blessings. And what's your thoughts also on the video?
First on the video, she's on point talking about the list, because they actually said, from the dating sites that 85% of the women want the same 20% of men on a dating site, or in relationships. So you have essentially 8 women chasing 2 men all the time. Oh, that's what those numbers lead up to. So that's how crazy that is. Why, but what is it about that 20% of men? Because we've learned, even you can be with a high earning man and then, he's beating you behind the scenes. So, we've just witnessed that. So we need to have a high value. You need to look at high value, which is not high earning, which is 2 different things. So, as far as we're looking at the list, we talk about, you got to throw the list away, because if you realize it, when you have a list, if you take, like Cameron said, you take a look at the list and say, where has that gotten me? And now you go back to it. All you need to do is open your closet and see how many skeletons are in your closet that look alike. That's what you've dated. That you're dating the same dead bones consistently all of the time, because you're picking a list. When I went through my divorce, I initially thought I needed a list, and I was just like, okay, this is trash out here. Just no offense to anyone. It was just the environment was trash, because I was trying to use a list, and literally the moment I did away with my list, I ended up with the most amazing woman I'm with right now. So when I just said, you know what, I'm not choosing. I am not her type. She is not my type. We agree to that, but we work through so many different things. And see, when you get people who are not your type, and you understand that it's the character and your core values And it's those pillars that I've talked about before. When you're dealing with those things, the pillars of love, when you're dealing with these things, it makes life easier because now you're seeing something different. See, it's nice to have a person who communicates. It's nice to have a person who checks in on you. It's nice to have a person that reciprocates. It's nice to have a person who really cares about your well-being. But if your type is not was not giving you that, why do you continue to go back to it? And so when I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I'll do this if the man I'm with does this. I'll do that if she does this. But why are you with a person that's not giving you what you need to begin with? And so, that's on you. That's not on them. And then Cameron, you said something too, knowing your worth and knowing your value. And here's the thing. Some of you have overvalued yourself. And it's no offense. No knock, no harm. It's just, we got to understand where we are. People say dating your pay grade. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not at all. But you can't sit there and say, I want a man that's physically fit. He's this, he's that, and you're not fit. You can't ask for a woman. You can't ask for a woman that cooks well and can take care of the house and hold the house down, but you can't provide. See, this is the reality many people don't understand and don't look at, and then they lose complete focus, and then they get frustrated when the relationships don't work, and they're like, "Here we go again. Now I got to start back over from scratch." Now I got to go again. It's. I mean, like I said, finding that person, that potential life mate. I keep it real. It's like finding a needle in shredded glass. It's not a haystack. It's shredded glass. You're going to get cut trying to find your potential person, but it's worth it when you get that person. Those bruises, those scratches, it's worth it when you get that person, but you're not going to get there if you continue to lean on a list, if you continue to date the same people, if you continue to say, oh, I'm only dating light-skinned girls, I'm only dating dark-skinned girls, I'm only dating dark-skinned men, I'm only dating men 6 feet, I'm only dating men making 6 figures, I'm only... The thing that is when you meet, and I would say it this way, when you meet your perfect imperfect partner, I'll say it again for those on the back of the small bus, when you meet your perfect imperfect person, it doesn't matter what they don't have. It doesn't matter what they have. The growth and the growing in love that you'll experience will outweigh any amount of money and material things that you ever desired. See, that's the thing. We're putting money and material things in front of what we're looking for. Your perfect imperfect person is not going to have all of that stuff that you're looking for, but you'll grow in love together and you'll achieve those things easily. That person will be willing to do for you without you having to say, well, if she does this, they're going to do, because that's who they are for you, because they know you're their partner. You're going to do for them because you know they're your partner when you're dealing with this type of stuff. So, I mean, people are missing out, sitting around waiting for that, perfect potential soulmate, life mate, and it's not out there. I'm just keeping it real. The perfect.
Oh man, what about the people that state like, listen? No knock to the sisters, even the brothers. They're saying like, I'm waiting for God to send me the right person. What do you say about those people that are?
Well, waiting? I mean, God can position the right person in front of you, and it's your perfect imperfect person. But because you have a type, you're not listening to God, you're listening to Satan, and that's why you continue to stay in hell in your relationships. So it ain't God, it's you. You're doing that to yourself. You're setting yourself on fire, literally, by continuing to wait for the right. It's just like, God can put 10 men in front of you over the course of 10 weeks. Say, okay, but they're not your type. And then you get to heaven and you say, well, God, what happened? And he says, I said, boom, 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 boom. But they want my type, because people always say, God gives us desires of our heart. But in order to get, so if you desire to be a 403, or if you desire to be a cheater, if you desire to be a liar, God gave you that. Let's keep it real. We can go to church now if we want to, but let's keep it real. So he didn't give you that. So giving you desires of your heart has to align with what he knows best for his children. So you can have that desire for that woman that's a Coke bottle figure. You can have that desire for a man that's 6'5" and making $1 million. If he doesn't feel you can handle it, he's not going to send it your way. And so those for sitting on the sidelines and just stay in the house and don't put themselves in, and you don't present yourself to be found, I pray the Amazon man, the mailman, the milkman, if you get milk delivered, DoorDash, or robber find you and you find love.
All right, my brother. I mean, this is so true, man. I mean, here's the thing, man. Very well said, my brother. You was just dropping a lot of gems. You, Carl, and Cameron. And may I add that just being closed off to a person's features or how much money they make can prevent you from getting to know if there's someone else out there for you, the right person, the ideal partner. But let's get our family involved and let's pull up to some DBDS posts and comments. Man, let's see what comments we have first. Let's go to this one right here. Boom.
Great topic, DBDS. Honestly, I believe physical attraction matters a lot to a good part, I guess, the part of the majority of people, whether they want to admit it or not. That being said, it's better to prioritize their character or personality when it comes to vetting effectively for a long-term partner. Otherwise, you'll get bamboozled along the way upon ignoring any red flags, Willis being blinded by their looks. I agree.
I agree too. Yeah. All right. Next one from Twitch.
At first, I used to date the same person in a different body, but after doing the work, I now see everything different. I'm now a strong believer of the opposites attract saying. I think that the reason people have partners is not on for companionship, also to fill each other's cracks. But you must have a balance. I'm loud, extroverted, quite impatient. So I want a quiet, introverted, patient guy who can also speak up and socialize when needed. That sounds like my relationship, but go ahead.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, one more comment we'll take.
The amount of narcissistic or emotionally unavailable, unstable I attract is crazy. It makes me doubt myself. I used to think that it was a thrill that these men gave me, but I soon realized it was not worth it. And now I'm working on myself. Hopefully not having a specific type will help me to attract the right man.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, she did a lot of narcissists.
Only thing I'm gonna say is to this commenter, I would take the word narcissistic out because all of us have narcissistic traits. It's just when you corner the wrong person, they can come out. But unless they're clinically diagnosed as a narcissist, they may be narcissistic traits. There may be other stuff in there. And that's why I tell people we throw around words. I definitely agree with the emotionally unavailable. That is definitely a word there. But just be careful labeling people narcissistic because you may actually be the narcissist in this situation is why you're attracting these type of people. So I always tell people, just be careful with those types of terms that we throw around sometimes.
Yeah, very well said, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah. So listen, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This is such off to a great start. In fact, the first topic was so juicy that we had 650, but we're going to keep it pushing. We're going to keep it rolling because that's what DBDS is all about. So sit tight. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So many people are calling for police reform. And so because they're calling for police reform, they may not understand that there are many organizations who are already responding.
And I feel like you have to really get to know people, see if they share the same core values as you before you get involved with them.
I want to ask a question as to how we got to this place right here where mask wearing, where COVID-19, where public health is all politicized. I really want you all to think about this. How did we get to this particular point?
It's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome, experience.
All right, my people, welcome back to the DBDS Live Studio. I'm here with my DBDS sister, admin, author Cameron, my DBDS sister Carla. Welcome to the family. And my DBDS brother Carl, the accountability coach. And we've been talking about having a type will keep you single. And our next subtopic that we'll touch on, which will be very insightful, is when you have a type, it will keep you unfulfilled in a relationship. Man, this is true, man. I mean, I know it's a lot of common sense, but this is true. So listen, even though this is, I feel like self-explanatory, those who become emotionally attached to a specific type learn furthermore about the person that their core values will never align to begin with. For example, listen, I spoke to brothers and sisters who stay with their significant other who constantly cheats on them because they feel that they will never find someone who is just as handsome or as beautiful. I mean, I know people that put up with that. Could be due to a low self-esteem issue, or it could just be to having that image, that facade that they rather have quantity, being with someone for 10 years in a very unhealthy relationship, whether quality, where you be with that ideal partner that really cares about you, someone that really want to uplift you and be there for you. And as I stated, those superficial lens will keep you to attract to the same person in a different body as long as you have them on. And Cameron, I just want to get your thoughts on this. What do you believe are the lasting effects of having a certain type that can put someone in a unfulfilled relationship?
So, like we've said earlier in the show, if you're focusing on superficial characteristics when it comes to choosing a partner, you're just staying at the surface level. And so then the question becomes, why do you want a partner? What is your goal in being in a romantic relationship with someone else? What is the draw for you to invest your time, your effort, and your energy into building something with someone? Like, those are three key questions to ask yourself.
Great questions, by the way.
I've even asked myself that. Like, at one point when, I felt as though I was ready to get back out there and date, I was like, okay, hold up. I put the pause on for 4 whole years so that I could do what I needed to do within myself. Just so, yeah, that's just how I wanted to be, right? And I was fine with that. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, because best believe when I get out here, it's my best self that's being presented. This is me all the way. But also I was in a space of wanting to and open to learning. I didn't get out here thinking I had it all figured out as it related to being in a relationship, because for me, I was starting out with a clean slate, right? This was a new me showing up to the relationship table. So I had to ask myself those 3 questions. I mean, you've been good for 4 years. Like, seriously, why do you want to be in a relationship with someone? You already have 2 children, a girl and a boy. There's nothing else for you to prove. Do you really want to have a child? Do you want to go that route with someone? And so I had to get very clear on my non-negotiables, right? Because no, I didn't want to have a relation. I didn't want to have another child with anyone. It was okay if he brought children to the relationship, but as far as my body went, no, we're not having any more children. We're good on that. And I'm okay. I don't feel like I'm missing out. And actually that cut a lot of men out, right? Even got so far as to date a man for a year. And then all of a sudden he brings up, hey, what about us having a child? I was like, wait, hold up. First date, I told you that's not where I was. So at the end of the day, you have your list. You want to be in a romantic relationship with someone to feel fulfilled and satisfied. But that's not that person's responsibility. You've got to show up to the relationship table already satisfied, already fulfilled with your, and the hope is that your partner reflects that. Because I promise y'all, if y'all are out here with these lists, oh, your partner is reflecting you straight up. That's your mirror. Again, we don't get who we want, we get who we are. So if you don't sit down and do the homework for yourself, asking yourself, why am I out here? Why do I want to be with someone? You're going to get feedback. You'll get it. But the question is, are you listening to it? And we're not trying to say like, you know, throw the whole relationship thing out the window. Don't. I'm telling you, just don't. I'm 50 and I'm having the time of my life with my partner. Like, it's like a completely new chapter for both of us. We're having a ball. A ball. And that's exactly what you can have. But you got to do the work.
Man. Come on, choir. Come on with man, Cameron. A lot of things you stated, so true, very well said. And those non-negotiables, trust me, that they will keep you focused as long as you stick to your guns. Your non-negotiables. I also believe in this instant gratification society that when you take it to the next level right away, then over time you will begin to lack emotional connection if the person you chose to be with and you did not get to know them, they may be someone that have low integrity, or they may get the type of person that's very overly emotional, I would say, over the littlest things and go to 0 to 60 real quick. I mean, all this could have been avoided if you would have just taken your time to get to know someone and see if the core values align and put the character first before everything, which we always state. But Carla, what are your thoughts on this particular topic?
I just want to say kudos to Cameron, because being older, divorced, and dating again, and being able to find that person that you truly can be happy with and enjoy life with, that's a beautiful thing. Like, a lot of us are out here searching for that. So I think when you have a type, what people don't realize is that you may, lack emotional depth in your relationship, and they confuse having a type with compatibility. Just because you found your type doesn't mean you're compatible. It doesn't mean that person has respect for you, that you have the same morals and values. So we can't confuse having a type with that. Like, again, that's a subset, that's a list. A lot of those types that we have are superficial. Like, how many of us, when we're younger, sitting down, writing a list and saying, I want someone who has integrity and who's honest, and, those, who's writing down those types of lists? I mean, at this age, we're probably writing those types of lists, but I mean, some of the lists that we see are very superficial. And the other thing is that we have to pay very close attention to is that when you have a type, you are so focused on reinforcing the positive that you're ignoring the red flags about a person, because you're so committed to trying to stick to that. Oh, this person is going to be a great partner for me because they fit this, this, and this, but you're ignoring everything else. And so that's what keeps us in that perpetual cycle, repeating patterns, right? Like, because we're ignoring those red flags. And it can be scary, kind of veering away from your type, especially when that's just something you've always been attracted to. That's something you've always sought. But you got to be comfortable stepping out of your comfort zone, because that's the only way you're going to find true fulfillment and that true match for you. And again, we keep reiterating the healing part. A lot of us have been divorced. A lot of us, even if you haven't been divorced and you've been through some type of childhood trauma, adult trauma, you have to do the work, because like Cameron said, you're only going to attract what you are. You're not attracting that list. You're not attracting your type. You're attracting exactly what you are. So doing that healing work is critical. And you'll, like she said, you have to start paying attention to those patterns. Sit down and identify the things that you find yourself repeating. I didn't even realize until probably 2 years ago that I was codependent. And that was something that, people think, oh, Alcoholics Anonymous, Drug Anonymous, all this, but codependency is codependency. Like whether you're addicted to drugs, sex, alcohol, you don't have to be addicted to those things to have codependency. And what a codependent does is they tend to try to do things to make someone love them or make someone accept them or make them happy. So you might be that type of person in a relationship where I found my type, so let me just sacrifice myself and be the martyr so that this person is happy with me and they don't leave me. And really, you just have a codependency issue or an abandonment issue or some other thing that you're really just accepting a behavior to be loved, to be accepted. And that's not love. And what you'll realize is, this person, they're going to keep up appearances and they're going to keep that mask up. They're going to keep projecting out the image that they want people to believe about them. And you're just a part of the show. You're not truly living in an authentic space with that person. You're not connecting truly with that person. You're just a part of their show. You're an actor in the role that they're playing and that they're projecting out there in the world. And this is why I feel like dating sites are so, I mean, I know people find love on dating sites, but we project an image on social media. We put out what we want people to see about us. And so you really have to peel back the layers and really take time to get to know somebody and go through some things and see how they are in situations before you can truly commit to a person. Because it's gotten really dangerous out here because people have gotten so good at projecting and pretending and wearing that mask. And that's a trauma response. People who are putting on that mask every day, they did that because they're trying to cope with the life that they're trying to escape from. So the true test is when you're finding your type or finding your match, you have to get to the point where, okay, let me see what they look like when they pull this mask off. What's underneath that? Is there an abusive person here? Is there somebody who doesn't know how to give me love? Do they have the capacity to love me in the way that I deserve and desire? Are they still struggling with trauma issues? And, it's one of those things where you just have to take your time and do your own self work. Like this journey is about self mastery. And when you put up a type, you limit your own personal growth because that opposite that you're running from is going to be that person that help you get to that next level, to help you embody your highest self. Not that type you're trying to find a match that's just, oh, this person's just like me or they're aligned with me, and that's not true alignment. Again, it's a illusion of alignment because we think that person is fitting, and it's truly not. And we've all been there. It's created more chaos in our lives than fulfillment. And so what we end up doing is we keep breaking up. We keep going through our healing process again and again. We find somebody else. We break, and it's a cycle. And at what point do you get tired of repeating that cycle, right? So that unfulfillment it goes back to self. You can't blame anybody for your choices but yourself. So
right.
I think April Mason said something. She was like, what was a simple introduction or a hello, turned into a 10, 20-year relationship. It should have been a simple hi, bye, and I kept it moving. But now I've been with this person for 10, 20 years. And we done broke up, and and that's what ends up happening with most of us. Right. We don't trust ourselves. We're not connected to spirit anymore. Our intuition, because we don't trust ourselves because we've been in so many bad situations. Now we're not listening to our intuition telling you run, girl, run. And so we fall into these situations, and it's like, and that was a part of my healing journey, was just learning to trust myself again, learning to listen to my own inner knowing when spirit was trying to tell me this is not it. Keep it moving. I got something greater for you, but you have to trust me. And so you have to get to that point where you're starting to listen to that inner knowing and trusting yourself. Because every person that smiles in your face and shows you love bombs you and does all of that, that is not the person for you.
Facts, man. Oh, so much to unpack, man. Very well said, Carla. I appreciate your vulnerability as well. And just to hear you state the illusional alignment, I had that mindset a long time ago, and by doing some self-reflection, I'm telling you, Carla, I'm telling everyone that when I put too much focus back then upon, I'll say, specific type, in that certain criteria, I realized later on it influenced me in many of my ill-fated dating decisions until one particular woman hurt me, and it affected me emotionally. It affected me mentally, spiritually, which prompted me to go see a therapist. Shout out to Dr. Hope, by the way. And slowly I began to get his expert advice and start to apply it to my life after that devastating breakup. But man, I feel it, but during that time, pain became my friend because I did the work, right? But Carl, man, I mean, my question to you is, do you think people are so afraid of getting hurt? Do you think this is why they have to put in their mind that, listen, if I stick to a certain type, then maybe I can avoid getting hurt? Or do you think that's a part of life? And I just want you to tackle that. And what are your thoughts on this particular topic?
I think it's a combination of both. I think some people are that way if they stick to what they know because it's comfortable. And they're thinking, well, maybe this time I'll be able to change this person. This time I'll be able to change a person. I think some
Okay.
people go through that mindset, where if I stay with this type, eventually I'm going to get it right.
Okay.
And then you have some that just, they don't know that they're dating a type. Really, it hasn't been pointed out to them, and then that's what you get when you go through self-reflection. You're healing all those different types of things. You start to begin to understand that, and just like the book, one of the books I got coming out later this year, as I talk to men and I tell them, I said, look, if having a type will kill you as a man, because there's a weight that you carry as a husband. So as a husband, you cannot, you can't have a type, because that type it'll literally kill you. So you have to be able to go outside the box. And again, I believe in opposites attract, and I think I think the problem is most people don't want to work through the opposite attraction part.
True.
Because it's not comfortable and it's not normal. And see, what we're missing is when you still deal with a type and stay unfulfilled, it's because you're comfortable. You're not being stretched. And so when you move into the opposites attract, now you're being stretched. Now you're being pulled. Now you got to be like, oh man, I'm not used to this. Oh, I'm not used to, a woman that, that communicates and reciprocates right away. Or I'm not used to a man that's affectionate, or, he tells me I'm beautiful, but it's not, love bombing me or just because of the way I look. It's because of my heart he's talking about.
Right.
When you're doing so, now it begins to stretch you in a way, and that's what relationships are supposed to do. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to stretch. Coming into what's familiar, there's no room for growth, because you're already there. You know what you're going to get. There's nowhere to grow. There's nowhere to do anything different. Coming into a relationship that you're not the same, it causes you to have to grow and expand. And I think that's the fear for a lot of people. And so they continue to date the same thing. And it's unfortunate. And so they'll sit back mad again and blame everybody and say all men are this or all women are that. And it's not that. It's who you have chosen to entertain your life over your lifetime, and not going outside of your box, not getting outside the comfortability. It's like Carl talks about the dating, apps and sites. It is bananas. Again, there are love stories that come out of there all the time. But like I said earlier, 80% of women want the same 20% of men. So the other men are just sitting there not being talked to. So again, if you think about it, if you're in the top 20% of men and you got 8 women pursuing you, do you really have to lock yourself down? What I'm saying? Do you have to? I mean, you have men that are grown, mature, that are going to do it, but there are other men that be like, oh, I can keep looking around till I find that one, and they can play the games because they know they got options, more options out there. So that's why you got to throw the list away. You've got to listen to a person's actions, and I tell people, don't ever listen to a person's words. Listen to their actions, and move forward in trying to find that. Again, I keep saying that imperfect, perfect person. That's what you're looking for. Nobody's perfect. If you're looking for perfection, you'll be single to your grave. It's just that simple. It doesn't exist. You just have to decide, what am I willing to deal with? You can meet somebody, because here's the difference. You can meet someone. I always tell people, why are you dating someone that's not fulfilling you? There's a difference on why I'm saying this. If you normally date someone and you're like, well, I'm only going to do this if he does this or she does. And I'm like, well, why would you be with somebody who's not doing it? The problem is, the person we're talking about, are they unable and or unwilling to give you what you need, which is why you with them if they're not going to give you what you need, or are you with a person who's unable to fulfill you but is willing to learn and grow to do it? See, that's why you right, big difference. So that's why you grow in love and not fall in love. See, people need to begin to learn the difference in terms. I was guilty of myself because again, when you fall, you break. So all you do is when you fall in love, you end up falling and breaking your heart. When you grow in love, now you that means you have nurtured something, you have watered something, you have taken great care of something. You know sometimes you might even have to replant it. All these different things you've done with your relationship, you've made it grow because you've given care, sunlight, love, attention, affection, music, whatever it is to make it grow. So when you grow in love, that's what you're doing. You're growing your hearts to connect. First, you falling in love and they're not. What do you do? Heartbreak. That's where you get it from. So you fell and you broke your heart because you fell in love. So that's I'll leave it at that.
Well said, man. I love how you just broke that down, like the fall portion, because you are right. When you fall, there's really no safety net. You're on that tight rope. You fall, you're gonna end up breaking your heart. And here's the thing, and it's one thing I was paying attention to what you stated. The opposite does make you grow, right? But it's so opposite when some people when they get divorced is what's the word? The difference. What's that term?
Irreconcilable.
Thank you, my sister. Yes. And I'm thinking, like, shouldn't the difference be the strength in the relationship? Like, I value my wife's difference. You know, so I never understood that at all. So listen, we're going to go ahead and come to some comments right here. We just have a couple. We appreciate everyone joining us. So we'll come to this one. I don't know if I hit this one, but let's see if we did.
No, not yet. Generally, it comes a time when you need to stop relationship because it isn't working for you anymore and it isn't making you happy and you don't enjoy it. Be careful to the signs you should look out for to know when it's time to let go of the relationship. Here we have respectful lists of signs. It takes time to move on, but let yourself feel and grieve and just be. Remember that you deserve love and the right person will be near you. I agree with everything you said. But a relationship is not designed to make you happy. That is your responsibility all of the time.
Yeah, how to re-educate that one. Okay. And this last one right here.
I seem to always have a thing for bad boys. Now I'm in a relationship and I have a trauma bond. I really need help leaving him because when I was suggesting it, he got pissed off at me despite him being the one lying, cheating, and backstabbing me. Everyone knows about the relationship says for me to leave him, but they don't help me. What would you suggest I do?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll have you answer that question. Then I'll go to my two sisters for some advice.
I'm gonna let the women handle that one.
Gotcha. All right, Cam.
I mean, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy right here. Like, what does she say in the beginning? I seem to always have a thing for bad boys. Okay. What do bad boys do? Oh, let's see here. They lie, they cheat, they backstab. So maybe you shouldn't have a thing for quote unquote bad boys. That's number one. And I mean, you know, if anybody is being abusive to you, because I mean, even though this isn't physical abuse, this is emotional abuse. Like to be in a relationship with someone and you knowingly know that they are lying and cheating to you, that is abuse. But the thing is, you are accepting it. And it sounds as though you're waiting for other people to give you permission to leave. You don't need anyone's permission. You only need your permission.
Right.
Count it, yeah. Facts. Thank you, Cam, for giving this sister some advice. Carla, anything you want to add to this?
The thing that stuck out to me is she says, I have a trauma bond. So she already knows the root of the attachment. So it's up to her to break free of that attachment and do her healing, because as long as you have a trauma bond or you still are traumatized, you're going to keep attracting that type of person. So you have to take time to just sit still and do your healing work.
Thank you for that. Carl, I come to you. I'm sure you have some brothers out there that stated, listen, man, I love this woman so much, but she's steadily stepping out through the relationship. She's doing, if this was reversal and you have to give this brother advice, but he seems to continue to stay, what will you say to him?
And I know people always say there's not a difference between the two, but there is a difference when it comes to a man if this is reversed.
Okay.
Most men don't walk away from it. It took me a long time to separate my marriage, and going through that stuff. And it's because as a man, if the marriage or relationship fails, you're always blamed. It's not, that is not a make believe. It's the truth. Because the first thing everybody says, what weren't you doing for her? What weren't you giving her? Or were you not sexing her right? Were you not buying her this or doing all these things? And that's the problem with a lot of situations why you will see a lot of men stay, because their relationship becomes a failure. Now they're a failure. They're not a man because the relationship failed. Again, I don't agree with none of that at all, but this is real. This is how society looks at it. This is why you see, again, in the military, certain corporate areas of corporate America, a man's promoted because he's married. Because they feel like, okay, if you have a wife and children at home, you have a lot to lose and a lot to risk. You're going to perform at your best. This is society saying, so for a man to be in a relationship or in a marriage and the woman's doing these things, it's hard to leave in that. And then there's a level of embarrassment. As a man, if your wife is cheating or your girlfriend's cheating on you, like I said, again, you're looked at as a downfall as to why they're doing that. It's not, because again, think about this dynamic, and this is a good teaching point. When you look at social media, if a man cheats, he's a dog. He's unfaithful. He's unwilling to be a man. He's all these things. When a woman cheats, it's, well, the man wasn't providing something. She was missing something. There was something that wasn't there. He wasn't giving her. So she's allowed to cheat. But you have, I've got clients who are not intimate with their wife, but twice a year. Anniversary and their birthday, and they won't step out on their wife, and they won't end the marriage because they're trying, their children, they're trying to set an example. But if he would be wrong for doing that, even though she's denying him. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, the cheating's wrong, but he's being denied at home. So again, reversing the roles of that post right there, this is why a lot of men stay. And I will tell men, you've got to go. Eventually, you got to break away. You got to go. But it is way harder for them to do because of how society views it. Relationship goes great. Marriage goes great. Oh, the woman did fantastic. The kid's doing well. It's the wife. It's the mother. When it's going wrong, it's all on the man. And that's part of, like I said, the book I'm writing, understanding the weight of being a husband. That's in there, and it talks about that, how to cope with that standard that's put on us as men.
Okay. No, thank you for sharing, man. I can attest to that, man. I mean, I just felt like the devastational breakup that I had before I met April, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like, man, I was the leader, even though it was infidelity going on that hurt me. And I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? And I tried to work it out, and I was like, hey, no matter, and I'll just use this as a metaphor, no matter how many times I get foul, even if it's a flagrant foul, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to give her free throws, free shots, and when it ended, a lot of, hey man, what did you do to lead her to cheat on you? So it kind of society does look at it in that way. I don't agree with it, but I understand wholeheartedly where you're coming from, brother.
And I hate to hear that. I mean, thank you, Carl and Mel, for for sharing that, for being transparent. But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, whether it's a man or a woman who's cheating, like whoever they're cheating on, you didn't make them do anything that they didn't feel within themselves was the right choice to make. I mean, people have to take accountability for the choices that they make, and anyone who cheats and projects the blame onto the non-cheater, like the victim, that's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. There's nothing loving about that. Nothing at all. And sometimes, you know, like Carl, you've told clients, walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Like, I promise, like, you don't have to have the finances figured out. You don't have to have the living situation worked out ahead of that. I mean, seriously, like, bam, time out, done, pause, hard, full stop. I'm out. This is no longer serving me. This is not satisfying for me. This is not loving for me. This is not fulfilling. Why do we run towards things that don't match that?
Right.
It makes zero sense. For what? To say you're in a relationship? Really? That's really what you think you deserve? I'm sorry. Nope. Nope. Full stop.
Yeah, very true. And my advice, I'll put up here one more time. I'll just like to give my 2 cents to her. So listen, sister, just understand that when you remain in a toxic relationship, you will accumulate negative baggage that will render you unattractive. And on top of that, it will be hard. I'm telling you, hard to receive a loving relationship until you dump that negative baggage. But it's up to you, as Carla, as well as Cameron stated, it's up to you to open your mind to allow yourself to get out of that situation. All right. So listen, my people, we're going to go ahead and take couple of commercial breaks. When we come back, it is about that time for our Jerry Springer moment. So sit back, relax. This is DBDS Live. Sit tight.
My brother, Carl the coach, contributed a chapter to an anthology. I got it in the mail this morning, so it means it probably delivered yesterday, but I saw it today. Look, I already done read this much. Okay, don't judge me. All right, some of y'all get distracted by foolishness. At least I'm reading. Okay, look, this for my ladies who are dating with purpose, for you who are working on yourself and you looking for a man who's working on himself, this your cheat code. This your book right here. You need this book right here. When I tell you they giving us all the goods, they spilling all the tea in this book. They telling us how to love them, how to respect them, how to be their peace, how to be their safe space.
People are having right now. You are living off your sleep, and you're not living off.
Jamel Lawrence, author, relationship advisor.
One of the DBDS Facebook group. We gotta share this box. Yay.
All right, welcome back, my DBDS people. We are in the DBDS Live studio, and I'm here with my DBDS sister Cameron, my DBDS sister Carla, and my DBDS brother Carl, the accountability coach. And listen, we've been talking about having a specific type will keep you single. But listen, before we pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, if you enjoyed this great episode, you can also catch us on the Pure Moment Network, which is available on Amazon Fire and Roku. You can also listen to us on Spotify, as well as our website, dearbrothersdearsisters.com. That is the official site dedicated to healthy and monogamous relationships. And to those, again, who is watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification button, because that helps out with the channel. That's just another way to support us. All right. But now it's time to pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, where we share our final thoughts for today's show. So first, I am coming to my sister Carla. Give the people who's watching your final thoughts for today's show.
Absolutely. I just want to say in conclusion that, having a list, a type, it can initially guide your choices and your future partners, but you're limiting having a broader perspective and potential relationships. It can lead to missed opportunities, reinforce unproductive patterns, things that you're trying to move away from. Embracing a more flexible approach can enhance just truly finding someone, that right person for you, that satisfying relationship that you've been seeking. So I just say ditch the list and, do your inner work. This journey, this life, it's about self-mastery. It's about healing. We're never going to be fully healed. We're always going to be healing from something, but focus on your self-mastery and make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to attract a vibrational match for the love and the beautiful future that you're trying to create for yourself, versus seeking a type. And in the end, you'll find somebody that's going to truly help you grow and become the person that you saw yourself becoming, and that you'll have the beautiful relationship that you desire to have.
Very well said, my sister. Appreciate you. And next, I'm coming to my sister Cameron. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Final thoughts for today. Here's a challenge. Ditch the list. That's it. Just ditch the list. Take a chance on yourself that you are able to have and meet someone who will open up the world in ways that no one else has ever opened it up for you. But you got to ditch the list. I promise you, there is so much more attraction, so many more things to love about someone when you don't box them in with a superficial list. So your challenge for the rest of May, get rid of the list. And hit us up in the DBDS Facebook group. Let us know how it went for you. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. And Carl, man, what an engaging show. Carla, Cam, as always, fire. Those that's watching, make sure you go to the DBDS Live group, which is underneath Carl's ticker. But Carl, what's your final thoughts for today's show?
Yeah, I agree with Cam. Throw the list away. And again, everybody will always say attraction plays a role, and it does. Attraction eventually fades. But if you grow in love with that individual, they'll always be beautiful to you. I always tell, one of the biggest things I tell my lady, I said, I fell in love with your looks. It's your inside. I was attracted by your looks, but I grew in love with you with your inside. And it's because of the way she is on the inside. And that makes the difference. For a lot of people, we're missing out on opportunities because we're looking for the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And then we're looking at social media. We're looking at social media standards of what you're supposed to have, what somebody's supposed to have. That doesn't make sense. I just came off of social media fast, enjoyed every day of it. Turn off social media. This is a recommendation, just hit me just now. If you're really trying to be in a relationship, turn off social media. Turn it off. Tune it out. Turn it off. Tune it out. Turn off reality TV. That's trash. I don't care who wants to say what. It's trash. And then find you some people, surround yourself with some people who are in healthy relationships. And then, only then, will you be able to find a person that you're looking for, your perfect, imperfect person.
Fire, man. What an engaging show, as always. DBDS Live is always live. Just want to let the people know that next week is Memorial Day weekend. So we are not going to have our show next week, but the following week, those that follow us, you will see that notification within the group. But before I provide you with my final thoughts, I would like to thank this amazing panel, especially Carla. Appreciate you. So thank you, my sister. So listen, my final thoughts is having a specific type actually limits you, whether you classify your type by using physical characteristics or personality traits. The reality is you will have fewer options to choose from unless you change your mindset. And that's very important, especially to have standards, but keeping them broad is the key to attract your natural counterpart, because having a type may keep you single for a very long time for obvious reasons, but it may be doing so for eternal reasons as well, until you realize that the person's character comes first, which will then allows you to see if their core values align with yours. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, my brother Mel.